Trucking is uncertain at the best of times. It's just the nature of the business. There are twists and turns and all sorts of unexpected changes. There is a twist about to unfold in the trucking industry. This twist is a massive rollout of a program by the individual states. And as the pandemic curve flattens, these states will be making up for the millions of dollars in lost revenues from loosened restrictions by issuing tickets and citations to truckers. Before we get into today's video, we have a quick word from our sponsor.
Today's video is brought to you by FleetNav Systems, whose ELD from GeoTab is a plug-and-play solution. There are no contracts, so you can leave anytime if it's not the right fit for you, but their service and support group is so efficient and so good, we think you'll want to stay with them for the long haul. FleetNav Systems, check them out. Excellent product. In this video, I will give you 5 ways to lower your odds of getting a ticket and a solution to seriously reduce the collateral damage should you get one. One of the easiest ways for troopers to find a mistake when they pull you over is to go through your paperwork and find something in your permit book that's expired. The way to prevent this, of course, is check your permit book constantly. Check it with your circle check every day. If you find something like your insurance slip, for instance, that's coming close to the expiry date, run into the office and get a new one and get it before you leave. Get all your paperwork corrected before you leave on a trip so none of it expires during the trip. It's one of the easiest tickets for those guys to write. The second thing troopers will look for when they pull you over is some sort of a mechanical fault or failure. And this is the perfect reason why you need to do a good circle check every morning before you leave. And if you find something that's not right, get it fixed right away before you hit the road. Mark it down, document it on your e-log that you found a problem and that you've had it fixed, and take care of that before you hit the road. Because if they find it when you're on the road, when they pull you over somewhere and find the problem, sometimes if it's a major infraction, you're just stuck there waiting for a mechanic or a tow truck. So get everything in working order, proper working order, before you hit the highway. The third thing you need to have with you, and this is mandatory now, this is law, is you must have an instruction booklet for your ELD so that the officer can refer to it should he want to scan through your ELD. That's required by law now. The fourth thing you need to do is make sure all your lights are working properly, your load is secured properly, and you've pre-planned your trip so you won't run out of hours before the day is over. You've got your place to stop picked out, you've got enough hours to get there, you've planned out your trip, and you've left some wiggle room in case you fall a little bit too short if you get caught in traffic or something. So that's number 4. The fifth thing you need to watch, and this is one of the easiest ways to attract attention from a trooper, is if you're speeding. Troopers always watch for that. You've got to watch your speeding. Your speed, if the road speed drops, if the posted road speed drops, you've got to make sure you come down with it when you're coming into a construction zone or heavy traffic or something like that. Watch your speed. I used to like to set my cruise control a couple miles an hour below the posted speed limit and just take my foot off the gas, let the cruise do all the work. That way I knew I was never in violation of my speeding rule and getting a ticket for speeding. In the beginning of this video, I offered you a solution to help reduce the collateral damage should you get a ticket. Now, I'm going to tell you what that solution is. And here to help me with this is Nick.
What's going on, big strappers?
US Legal has come up with a product they call the CDL Defender Plan. And what that means is they'll go to court for you or your spouse should you get a ticket in a commercial or a non-commercial vehicle, and they'll go to court for you. They'll have the fine reduced or thrown out altogether.
That's right, they'll actually go to court for you and fight your ticket on your behalf. They'll either have the cost severely reduced or they'll have the ticket thrown out altogether. How convenient would that be? You get a ticket over in Texas and you're from Ohio? How much of a pain in the ass would that be to drive all the way back to Texas just for one lousy ticket?
And all this coverage for a little more than $1 a day. I sure wish we'd had that kind of coverage when I was driving.
This is going to help keep your driver's license clean because your CDL is your lifeline to your driving career.
In addition, they will also submit a data queue form to the FMCSA to make sure that they keep the points off your carrier's CSA score. US Legal's CDL Defender Plan is something all professional drivers should have a good hard look at and consider. I know personally, I wouldn't leave home without it.
Now you're probably thinking, how do I go about getting myself some of this coverage? Well, he has no idea, so that's what I'm here for. Let me tell you how to get some of that coverage.
Alright, let me show you how easy it is to sign up. Even Dave could do it. So you go up to the top of your web browser, you type in smarttruckinglegal.com. See in the top left here. Take you to their website. As you scroll down their page, you're going to see more information about their product. We're going to hit the sign up button. And this is going to bring up a pop-up menu, which you just provide them with some basic information so that you can sign up for $32.95 a month. And that's all there is to it, strappers.
One of the biggest aggravations that truck drivers have is having to go through customs. And periodically, most guys will have to do that at one point or another. Well, I was working for a company many years ago now that was back and forth across the Ambassador Bridge fairly frequently. And usually they would you'd roll up to the booth, they'd ask you a few questions and you'd be on your way. This was before x-ray machines and all of that stuff. And they were usually pretty good and pretty casual, and they got to know if you crossed regularly or not. Well, the carrier that I was working for at the time had an Eastern European gentleman that had decided that he wasn't making quite enough money just trucking alone. So he would sneak alcohol across the border from the States whenever he could, and he'd been doing it for years, basically, and he'd get into Canada and sell this booze for an inflated price and make a pretty nice profit. So the one day he rolls up to the customs booth and his whole headliner is loaded with bottles of booze. And I don't know if the headliner was held on by Velcro. I think it was Velcro he was using. So he was leaning out the window, talking to the customs officer. All of a sudden the Velcro lets go and a bottle hits him in the head. Right after he said he had nothing to declare, this bottle of vodka drops out and smacks him in the noggin. Well, that kind of sets off alarm bells at customs. So they pull him around back into what they used to call the secondary inspection, and they tore down the headliner. They found 13 bottles in the headliner alone. They started to take the truck apart. They found over 15 different custom-built compartments in this cab over back that this guy had built to smuggle booze into Canada from the States. And he had over 100 bottles, I think it was, in the truck. He was just loaded right up. Customs was so impressed with the hidden compartment system that this guy had designed that they seized the truck and sent it to their training center in Ottawa. And the test for new customs guys was find all the compartments in this truck. And they kept the truck for, it was like 13 years. In the meantime, this fella ended up buying another truck because he couldn't wait to get his other one back, buying a cheap old truck. And he met a sad end. He ended up being ripped off by a load broker and he hung himself over the deal. But it was a marvelous piece of equipment that he built for smuggling, and that was fairly common back in the day. You don't get too much of that now with all the x-ray machines and stuff, but there's still the occasional guy that tries something stupid. But we all had a laugh about this bottle hitting Joseph in the head. Stay safe.
Keep the rubber side down.
And we'll see you on the back haul.